Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in beginning, I want to commend you for what I think folks need to understand is really what's at issue with your agenda today. What you're essentially doing is giving us an opportunity to lay out the digital rules of the road. And the fact is, if you look over history, it's always been this way with the economy. When you have new technologies and new developments, you got to update the rules of the road. I mean, you did it for the railroads. I mean, all through time, we've had to do it. So I want to commend you for the agenda, the way we're looking at these issues, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Senator Thune talked about one of our bipartisan bills and laid out the Digital Goods and Services Tax Fairness Act. And with Senator Snowe here, I thought what I'd do is take a couple of minutes to talk about our other major bipartisan bill, the Wireless Tax Fairness Act. And here's the reality, folks. Here's my smartphone. And what we're dealing with is we've got smartphones today and dumb tax policies that have not kept up with the times. And so we all remember the days of the mobile phone, these big old things, and essentially we've got the same tax policies for smartphones. And smartphones, of course, are how millions of Americans access the internet. They're really a lifeline for some of the folks with a modest income that the Urban Institute does a lot of wonderful work for. And so what Senator Snowe and I want to do is make sure that for the next 5 years, these smartphones are not subject to what amounts to multiple and discriminatory taxes. Multiple and discriminatory taxes on wireless communications. And if you look at the last few years and all the taxes that have been heaped on wireless technology, we now have many states with taxes above 20%, the national average over 16%. So what I'd like to do is first get on the record, Mr. Sabatino, we had the CBO analyze the tax implications of our legislation. And remember, this is a bill, what Senator Snowe and I are advocating is something that would be prospective. It's not something that looks back in time. It's part of laying out the rules of the road for the digital economy for the future. And it's my understanding that CBO has said, the most recent analysis is July 28th of 2011, that our legislation, in the words of CBO, is that it would have no significant cost to the federal government. And then at page 2 of the analysis, CBO did not identify any costs as well to state, local, or tribal governments. So here's an opportunity as we move in the Committee of Jurisdiction for laying out these rules as it relates to the digital economy to take a major step forward in something that is literally a lifeline for millions of Americans. And I wanted to kind of trace the history from those big mobile phones to these wonderful smartphones that are just carried by millions to access the net. And we can do it without any net cost to either the federal government or the state and local governmental authorities. And I'd just like to get your confirmation that that is the latest analysis by CBO, that the bill that Senator Snowe and I are talking about will not generate new costs to either the federal government or the state and local authorities. Is that your understanding, Mr. Sabatino?
That's my understanding, Senator.
Okay. Then for you, Mr. Henchman, we've done a lot of work with you all at the Tax Foundation. Why don't you give me your thoughts, and we're certainly going to be talking about the Marketplace Fairness Act in the days ahead, and having followed this since the days when I was a co-author with Senator Sununu, Senator McCain, the Internet Non-Discrimination Act, we've always tried to come to grips with how to handle a new emerging technology. Isn't the heart of it trying to have policies that have the federal government, first of all, do no harm, and to ensure that there are not multiple and discriminatory taxes that come about from these thousands of jurisdictions? When I first listened to some of the issues surrounding the Marketplace Fairness Act, I looked out at these scores of taxing jurisdictions, more than 5,000 of them, and some of the stuff just defied common sense. You'd have jurisdictions that I remember there was one that would treat a chocolate bar one way and a cookie another way.
Right.
I mean, aren't these some of the issues that we're going to have to deal with as we try in this committee to write these digital rules of the road?
Correct. And as I specified, it's important that simplification be kept in mind because right now we're up to 9,600 sales tax jurisdictions, growing a couple hundred a year. We added 400 last year. So we're moving away from uniformity and away from simplification in terms of number of rates, definitions, and how complex it is. And there's a lot of things Congress could lay out. And as I mentioned, some of the bills offer some very promising simplification options.
My time has expired, Mr. Chairman, but again, I want to thank you, and I hope people understand what is really at issue here, and that is you're updating what are essentially the rules for the modern economy, the economy where the jobs are. And I really appreciate your leadership.